Perrotto and his wife Linda have lived in Fairhaven for 45 years, and they've raised 2 sons here in town. Their son Matthew is a combat veteran who served in Afghanistan, as Mr. Perrotto will soon tell you. He's a veteran of the United States Marine Corps and served all over the Caribbean. He even assisted in the legendary Bay of Pigs and the Cuban Missile Crisis. He was honorably discharged as a Lance Corporal. More locally, Mr. Perrotto has served our local community in just about every way possible. Get ready for this list of groups that Mr. Perrotto has been involved with over the years. Adjunct of the American Legion Post 168 in Red Bank. Member of the borough's Memorial Park Committee. He's the former Director of Recreation for the borough, as well as the former coach of the Knollwood baseball team. In addition, Mr. Perrotto was very active in the baseball, basketball, and soccer recreation programs during the 80s and 90s. Along with all those other titles, Mr. Perrotto is a 23-year member of the Fairhaven Fire Company. He's a former captain of the First Aid Squad and has since been appointed a life member. With that, I'd like to introduce Mr. Joe Perrotto, who will speak a little bit about his experience and the importance of recognizing Memorial Day. Joe?
Thank you, Matt. Let me just first say that I'm very honored and humbled by being asked to speak today. When I first received the request, I spoke to my wife about it, and I said to her during our conversation, I said, "Why me?" And she was very emphatic, and she said, "Why not you?" And then, as I was thinking about her response, she, in an even more emphatic voice, said, "And if you do decide to do this, keep it under 10 minutes." So here we go. In recent weeks, I've been looking at some pictures that were taken many years ago when I was on active duty as a United States Marine. One picture was of 70 Marines standing at attention. It was a picture taken on September 20th, 1960, of a platoon that I was a member of. As I looked at the photo, it created mixed emotions in me. The young men in the picture came from all walks of life, had different religious backgrounds, represented different races, and many different nationalities. We became a unit of brothers sealed in a bond of loyalty and trust that could never be broken. To this day, that bond with all my fellow Marines, both past and present, is just as strong as it was in September of 1960. Looking at the picture stirred the unpleasant reality in me that a good percentage of the young men pictured in that photo are no longer with us. Today, the community of Fairhaven joins Americans across our nation and the citizens located around the world as we pause throughout the day to honor and recognize the sacrifices and the services of those men and women who have served in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, the Coast Guard, and in any other branch of service responsible for our country's safety and freedom. Since its first official observation on May 5th, 1968, when it was called Declaration Day, Memorial Day has been a day of remembrance for those who sacrificed and died in our nation's service. And while it was originally dedicated to honor Civil War soldiers, we know it today as a celebration in memory of all who have fought for and defended our right to freedom. It is important to not only recognize their service, but to respect their devotion to duty, to ensure that the purpose for which they served will never, ever be forgotten. During World War II, as American forces were preparing to land at beaches in the European theater, and to begin the push across France that was necessary to stop the threat of Nazi control, the following words were echoed around the world. On these craft hang the future of Europe and the course of history. In the hands of these men, free men everywhere have placed their hope for today and prayer for tomorrow. During the Korean War, American soldiers fought to defend the country and a people they did not know. These soldiers answered the call of duty and defended, for all of us, the rights of freedom against an enemy that is represented today by those who want to tear down our liberty and destroy the freedom that has been preserved to this day by those who fought to defend it. On September 11th, 2001, the United States of America was, for the second time in its history, attacked by an act of war that was unprovoked and cowardly. Our resolve was tested, and we demonstrated to the world that our passion for freedom and liberty will never be lost in the midst of the confused and misdirected plan of enemies throughout the world. Our military forces were once again called upon to protect our country from an enemy that is entrenched in hatred and bias against our way of life. In each instance, when called upon to defend the rights of our nation, the American serviceman and woman has responded courageously. Whether it was World War II and rallied by support around the world, or in Vietnam during a time of disruption and confusion among the people of our nation, or even today when the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan provoke similar confusion and disagreement among our citizens, it is imperative that each of us show our respect for the soldiers who fought and to remember the sacrifice made by each of them and their dedication to duty. The word hero is a term that is used loosely in today's world, but make no mistake about it. The names listed on the memorial behind me, the names listed on the headstones of the rolling hills of Arlington Cemetery, the names of those soldiers buried in France and other parts of Europe, the names of the servicemen and women listed on the Vietnam memorials throughout the United States, and the names of the brave men and women who are buried in veterans and public cemeteries around the world are the names of the true heroes in our lifetime. They gave up two things. They gave up the life they were living and the one they could have lived for our freedom and way of life. We owe them a debt we can never repay. My wife Linda and I have resided in Fairhaven for over 45 years. Both of us have developed a deep-rooted love and affection for this great little town. Both my sons grew up and were educated here. My youngest boy, Matthew, served in Afghanistan as a combat engineer, and Linda and I are blessed to have him home safe and sound. Sorry about that. When I drive down River Road and see Ray Taylor, a Korean War veteran taking his daily walk, I am proud to count him as a friend, and I am thankful to have him as a member of our community. He is a true hero in my way of thinking. And then there's Oscar Hilley, who resides on Hance Road. 95-year-old gentleman I have known for far too short a period of time. Oscar was a B-17 pilot in World War II, shot down over Germany, severely wounded, and was a prisoner of war for 22 months. Over the last year or so, I've had the privilege to spend time with Oscar, talking to him about his experiences and going through the journals he kept while in captivity. When I am down and out, all I have to do is stop by and see Oscar. And it's like a shot of adrenaline to my system. To steal the title of a popular song that you hear a lot in churches, he raises me up. I feel just knowing him increases my net worth as a human being. As a footnote to Oscar's legacy, when his plane was hit by enemy fire and was on its way down, even though Oscar was severely wounded, he was able to land that plane intact on its belly in a farm somewhere in Germany, saving not only his own life, but saving the life of all the members of his crew that were aboard. I think they only lost one crew member that day, and that was the one that decided that he had a better chance to bail out than go down with the aircraft. For those of you that are unaware, there is a wall of honor at Norwood School. On that wall are displayed the pictures of Norwood graduates who are currently serving on active duty in the armed forces of the United States. Take a few minutes and stop by to see it. It is located in the hallway just outside the main office. If you do, make a mental note of the names of those heroes who have chosen to serve their country. And if you're out and about and around town and you run into any of their families, Ask them how are they doing and offer words of support and enthusiasm about their service. Being the parent of a serviceman or woman in today's dangerous world is a lonely place to be. I know, I've been there and done that. In closing, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our police department for protecting us and keeping us safe. I view them as a soldier that protects our freedoms and way of life on a local level. As a member of the fire department, I answer many emergency calls during the year, and Fairhaven's finest are always there exhibiting a high degree of professionalism and care to those in need. We are very fortunate to have such a fine police force. Finally, I'd like to comment on the sea of blue over here. If I wasn't up here speaking, I'd be proudly standing amongst their ranks. For the last 23 years, I have stood shoulder to shoulder with them fighting fires and answering first aid calls. And I am proud and honored to count them as my brothers and sisters. They are on standby 24/7, 365 days a year, and when their pager goes off, they answer the call without hesitation. May God keep them safe. When we think of heroes, all we have to do is look around our own little town. We have our fair share of them in Fairhaven. I wish everyone a happy Memorial Day. I thank you for your attention and thank you for being here on this day of remembrance. God bless you all and God bless America.
Thank you, John. Thank you. At this time, I would like to welcome the choir from the AME Fisk Chapel Church to perform their selection.